This is the Doyen, boys. This is the best caller the game's ever seen, and he is tapping out today. His final call will be the grand final, and what a way to go out in his home state. Dennis Cometti joins us now. Comet, welcome to you.
Yeah, good morning. What's the limit for goodbye games?
Well, James Hird had a pretty good go at it back in the day.
Johnny Farner.
But what? Tell us
I'm
your
on
thinking.
a roll.
This is did you ever think you'd see a grand final played in your home state?
No, I didn't, and not between these two sides if there was one. You think of the powerhouses, don't you? Melbourne were a powerhouse, but at the same time, it's a very exciting time for Melbourne, and not so much for Melbourne, actually. I'm sorry, I take that back for Perth. When I think of the grand final, when I think of a grand final, it is Melbourne. So I know you're doing it tough over there, but it should be something to make Melbourne people proud.
Dennis, Bernie Vince here, mate. Congratulations on a great calling career. I want to take you back to when I was drafted, which was 2005. Now, you wrote me a letter asking me a few questions about, where I grew up and what I did and what the sports I played. Is that something you did to every player? And, geez, you must write a few letters, handwritten as well.
Only the high draft picks, Bernie.
I was going to say, that's a lot of letters over the time.
I picked a few bad ones too.
I see you didn't send me one. I didn't get a letter, Dennis.
I never got one either, Den.
Oh, well, your career was going so well, you didn't need a letter. You would have been getting some from Hollywood, Duck. Don't, come on.
Yeah. And what about me?
Bill, he was talking about Wayne.
What has been your best call, Dennis? Like with these cock in the ocean, all that stuff. What have you sit back and just have a little smoke the cigar over?
No, well, I remember, well, the games help you. I mean, it's not down to you. It's down to the games, really. I think that grand final between Hawthorn and Geelong was just terrific. I remember that when Ablett got the 9.
Yeah.
That brought the best out of everybody, including the players. That was just a sensational grand final. So, and the night actually Duck played against North Melbourne for Adelaide. That was a pretty fiery night too, and I remember that. Again, I was on edge, but that does help you. I think, sometimes you go to the game, it's a matter of fact, if you're doing 2 or 3 over the weekend, as Jim can tell you, it's a bit of a trial, and you sort of do them, but don't remember them for long. But a few stick in your mind, and there are 2 that do. I thought they were both tremendous games.
Dan, obviously we're talking about football at the moment, but obviously an Olympic year this year. Best call in regards to the games?
Yeah, well, I did swimming, and my only qualification was I had a pool in the backyard. So as a result, I was learning it on the job a little bit. But, yeah, it was terrific. I really got a buzz out of a couple of those events, particularly Kieran Perkins. I mean, he was gone in Atlanta, couldn't win from lane 8, so that was a pity. Yep. And, a couple of other ones as good, I thought. It's pretty easy. I mean, they're swimming in lanes, and they got ropes around them, so they can't go anywhere. I wish they would do that in football.
Dan, seeing your Razor swimming in that Perkins era, can you just give us one more Van den Hoogen band as you go?
Oh, Damien.
I can't. This has made me nervous now. The wife will come up and slam the door shut. Van den Hoogen band. There she comes.
I love it, Dan. And, of course, that brought out the rarest kind of gold, which was my favourite part of that call.
Yeah.
Mate. I'll take you back to the cork in the ocean, Dan. Has it become a bit of a noose around your neck? Every time I ever see you, blokes from out of buses, out of cabs, lean their head out and go, Dennis Cometti, like a cork in the ocean. Does it drive you mad?
Well, it's a bit samey. It's not something I thought was smart. It was just what came to me at the moment. But I'd heard that expression growing up as a boy, hundreds of times, like a cork in the ocean. So there was nothing special there that I thought about. But, yeah, people do that. And it's quite strange what people latch onto.
Centimetre perfect as well, another one?
Yeah, well, that's another one, and that's an interesting one because it is funny. Walking the streets of Melbourne or Perth or Adelaide, for that matter, not as much, but when you're walking along and you've got your wife with you and a guy goes past and he sort of shouts out, Centimetre perfect. I wait. No, hang on a second. I haven't finished yet. I wait for my wife to step up and give them a thumbs up, and she never does.
That was, I think you said, Dennis, when you were acclaiming one of your many acknowledgements for your work, that was an abridged from a previous saying too, which may have had something to do before the metric system.
Yeah, I just took that from inches to centimetres, or whatever the translation was. That took me, I reckon, all of about 2 minutes, but it's lasted a long time. I've got to give it sort of durability, if nothing else.
And Dan, what can we expect today in your last game, big grand final in your home state? Can we expect you to rip out all those one-liners, or have you got a few plans, or have you got some new ones? What can we expect?
Yeah, well, you're trying to get me in that sort of mode before I go to the ground. It's all spontaneous doing. I'll pick up all these papers I've got lying on the floor, take them with me and read what I've sort of come up with and rehearse them before the game and then drop them in if I can. But no, it's all spontaneous.
Hey, Dan, 40 years. Can you believe it? I bet you, like us all, it's gone by in the blink of an eye, but that is a long time to be doing this job as well as you have.
Well, it is a long time, isn't it? Actually, when I was at the ABC, they wanted me as a cricket commentator. They didn't see the footy as important. That's how I came to coach West Perth over here. I've been very lucky in a number of situations. So I look back on it and think, my first call of a game, I'll just bore you with this for a moment, was an interstate game, Victoria and WA in Perth. That's where I started. So I started at the top and it's all been downhill since.
And, of course, your beloved West Perth just had a number done on them by Claremont on the weekend, Dan, sucked in.
Oh. I think we've been talking for too long anyway. So
Gotta go.
So what does the day hold as we let you go? I know you're going to be doing the Triple M call. Have you got stuff to do prior to that, or are you just getting into the box and preparing?
Cashies.
Well, I think I'll go to the box, but I think there's a bit going on in the box before we start. So Triple M like their pound of flesh, don't they?
They do, and you're going into the Dennis Committee Media Centre, so it's named after yourself.
Yeah, I am. I don't go down that end very often because I find it awkward. So I stay away down the other end. But all you guys have a good day too, whatever you're doing, and I hope it works well for you, and look forward to seeing you all in the future.
You're a blue blood, Dennis.
Yep.
You've been at the top of this game for as long as any of us can remember. Well done. Enjoy today.
Good on you guys. Thanks, JB.
Star Dennis Committee. What a legend. The voice of the game. You don't say that very often, do you? Rabs, as you know, Fat, because you butcher it every time. Rabs Warren with the NRL, Richie Benno, of course, with cricket. There are very few that end up being the voice of a game.
Yeah, and never wasn't polarising, was he? Everyone just loved him.
No.
At the peak of his powers, and now on the farewell tour, which he does concede has gone on for a bit. But that's the beauty of it. People want him to still hang around, and I still reckon he's got another game in him, Jim.
Another year. What about the oldies? Remember this. I don't know if we get too many oldies, do we, host? Listen.
Of course, every
Probably
demographic.
Righto. But 3KZ is football, Damo. He was on 3KZ, wasn't he?
Yeah, and when he did accept those media awards relatively recently, the highest ones in the media for the Hall of Fame, he referenced how he was a disc jockey over here in Perth when the Rolling Stones were first big. So, I mean, he made his name as a broadcaster before he made his bigger name as a
in his leather pants,
broadcaster.
Even.
Oh, yeah.
Did he?
Oh, yeah. Proper DJ.
He used to coach West Perth. I was growing up as a boy when he was coach at West Perth, and he used to coach it in a flared suit.
Did he?
Full suit with the flared pants. Oh, yeah, and the winkle picker shoes. He'd walk out there, then. It was just hilarious.
Hair flowing.
Oh, yeah. The rig he used to roll with was brilliant. We have got a big show still to come before the grand final. We're starting a long way out, because the game's not for a while, but we've got a special guest coming up. A special guest who I'm really looking forward to.
Now I know who it is.
It might just be an uncomfortable interview.
Oh.
I love uncomfortable interviews.
So do I.
Oh, do you, Fat?
Yeah.
That's coming up. Nuff's coming up. A quiz is coming up with a $10,000 prize.
Oh, 10?
Bill.
Jim.
What?
Barbecues galore. Barbecue better this summer with barbecues galore. Barbecuesgalore.com.au, or visit your local store. They're giving us, Jim,
Yes.
the Sunday Rub, $10,000.
Did I hear that right?
A voucher.
To spend at barbecues galore.
So you get more for winning the quiz today than you do if you're the MVP.
Twice. It was $5,000 for the MVP. You get 10,000.
Ollie Wines might ring back in, Bill.
The quiz. So give me time for the quiz, Jim. Hopefully we have more than three questions.
Sure, it's not 1,000.
That's how much we treasure our listeners.
Yeah.
Maybe he's misread the zero.
Oh, hang on.
Read it again, Bill.
Hang on.
Is it?
It's 1,000.
No, it's 10.
No, it's 10. $10,000 voucher from Barbecues Galore.
All right, Nuff coming up next. Speaking of Nuff, the votes on Instagram, Hose, how many did we end up with?
Over 10,000 to get our Nuff of the Year.
Vote.
That is amazing. Over 10. What do you want, Fat?
Ned.
And what I can say, Jim, in the final, it is a very, very close finish. I don't want to give too much away, but 1% in it.
I don't know if there was a market in Ned's for it, but Jared Timms would know.
Thank you, Hose.
Right.
Anyone else want to mention Ned's?
Ned.
Timsy joins us from Ned's. Hello, Timsy.
Hello, guys. Am I the special guest you were referring to just before?
Well, you are special, Timsy, but this one's probably just got you covered. Tell us, please, about